If you're hustling, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're hustling, go and network more. Find other groups. Yeah, it's unfair. Yeah, you don't look like them. Yeah, you don't have the same experience. Yeah, you don't come from the same pedigree. Who cares? Overcome it. It'll be part of your narrative origin story of how you became a Bruce Banner to the She-Hulk. Doesn't make any sense. What's up, internet friends, founders, and the Entrepreneur Curious? You've made it, and you're here. It's Venture Daily. News bits from a founder's perspective. That's right, guys. What's up? I hope you guys have had a great weekend, my friends. A wonderful, wonderful weekend this past weekend. It's Monday after all, and I am glad to be a part of your day. Welcome, guys. I had a great weekend this weekend. Well, I always have a great weekend because a weekend is what you make of it. Weekend is what you make of it. I was out on the track this weekend, guys, prepping for the race weekend coming up. Super excited about that. However, we had a little bit of a snafu, my friends. A little bit of a snafu. You see, what happened is that the shifter carts, the carts that are going 80 miles per hour or faster or whatever, there was a jumble up, guys, on the track this weekend, and we had some major accidents. A 6-cart pileup on Sunday, in which unfortunately my son was part of that. Good thing he wasn't hurt, so thank goodness for that. But I now have the carts in the back of the truck because they're all bent up. And so now I have to go get them fixed. So it looks like we're not going to be having a racing weekend this next weekend. Looks like we're going to just be chilling and working on carts, which isn't a bad thing. But again, I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend this weekend, man. It was good. It's good to be back in the saddle. And from a previous show, I think it was Friday's show, I was talking about how what I love about Mondays is that you can completely reset the week. It doesn't matter if you had a great week last week or a terrible week last week. Every week is a new week to prove yourself, prove your might, continue to move forward, guys. If you're a founder, an entrepreneur, or even if you're just a corporate employee, it doesn't matter. You have an opportunity to make your life worth living, working hard, creating something, moving forward, building something amazing. Even, I don't have any, let me put it this way. Even if you're a corporate employee, you can still become an outstanding corporate employee. And you say, well, for what purpose? Being noticed, becoming a person of influence, being a servant leader, being a good person to those around you. People will notice. And if anything, even if you're a corporate employee, you can still make life better for those around you and better for yourself. And so if you're not in the hustle, that's okay. I'm glad you're listening. I'm glad you're here, guys. I just love being a part of your day. What are we talking about today on this Monday? I feel like I'm all over the place. But an interesting article crossed my desk. It's, do women-only networking groups harm entrepreneurship? Now, this is an intriguing question, and the reason it's intriguing is because I've never thought about it before. Now, are there networking groups for certain types of class of people? Yes. Are there networking groups for certain type of races of people? Yes. Are there certain types of networking groups that are made for certain people of certain dollar figures or wealth? Yes. So there's lots of ways to break up networking groups, but this question of, do women-only networking groups harm entrepreneurship or women entrepreneurship? I don't know. So let's see and figure out through this article by Addie Glasgow whether it actually does. The second article I want to go over is, having a good product isn't enough to build a successful startup. Well, I could tell you that, guys. That's not hard. I could tell you that. And then we're going to be talking about, on the final word for founders and community, I'm going to be talking about a relationship that I'm growing. I'm going to be talking about a meeting that I had last week with a great venture capitalist who opened up my eyes. And so I'm excited to share a little bit of what's going on. I always try to share as much as I can of what's going on as we grow this venture capital fund, as we move into the next phase of life, guys. I appreciate y'all being here. It's Venture Daily. Let's get into it. So, do women-only networking groups harm female entrepreneurship? This one's by Annie Glasgow. Research published last year highlighted the challenges that women faces when it comes to building their own network. The research reveals that men who were in the right networks were about 1.5 times as likely to progress into leadership roles after graduating than men who were in the wrong networks. The question really is how do you define right and wrong? How do you define right and wrong? Does it mean that you have a network that has a lot more opportunities than another? Is that what makes it right? It's an interesting question. Sometimes with these articles, guys, you have to cut past the BS because these guys are professional writers. And as professional writers, they have agendas. And they like to weave it in and not give you the full details. First, define for me what's a right and wrong network. If you can define that, then I can understand why it's 1.5 times more in the right versus the wrong. You know? Anyway, when there was no such premium, even if they were in the right network, where network did seem to be beneficial, however, is that they were in a social network that was primarily made up of women, in which case they were 2.5 times more likely to graduate with a leadership role after leaving school. So one might imagine that women-only networking groups would be beneficial, but new research from the University of Edinburgh suggests that things might not be so straightforward. So what they might find out here is that networking groups that have women in them are better than women groups that don't have them. But if you only have women-only groups, maybe that's a diversity problem because you don't have enough men. Indeed, it argues that those groups may do more harm than good, especially in terms of supporting female entrepreneurs. Some of those barriers are explored in a recent research from Columbia University. The study analyzes the networks of a few thousand entrepreneurs and comes to the rather depressing finding that decision makers appear to prefer male contacts when they're making third-party referrals, especially in sectors that are dominated by men. Okay, so men like to give men recommendations as opposed to women? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, and it's not just because they're women. It's because of the relational dynamic between women and men and all the nuances of women and men relationships. Welcome to the differential between men and women. We're different creatures, by the way. We're not the same. This bias vanishes in a field that are either more gender neutral or one commonly associated with women. But that's a scant consolidation or a scant consolation. Let me put it that way. So you're saying if I'm a male in the nursing arena and I join a nursing networking group, I'm going to have a worse chance because the nursing world is dominated by females? Is that what they're saying? The research challenges the notion that if women aren't getting value from networking, it's because they aren't doing it properly or in bad networks. I don't assume that at all. Instead, it suggests that there are fundamental biases at play that limit the potential of networking for female entrepreneurs. So the question I have to ask myself is, if I'm a female entrepreneur and I'm going into a male-dominated market and I'm going to a male-dominated networking event, does that play with my decision-making as to whether I should go as a female? Or should I tell the system to just change because I'm here? That's the real issue. The real issue is if I'm a willing participant moving into a market dominated by a particular segment of people, and I'm not that type of people, generally, it's going to be harder for me to break into that culture, into that group of people, because I'm not like those people. We know that gender inequalities happen all the time. Men and women in the same experience differences, and they experience different outcomes, the researchers say. I agree. I don't disagree with that. Why would we think that putting women in the same networks as men would lead to equal outcomes? Good question. The Edinburgh-led research finds that women-only networking groups are largely unable to overcome this kind of hurdle. The question is, does it really matter, or do women-only networks provide other benefits to members? We cannot, quote, we cannot erase gender, ethnic, or sexuality biases on our own, and so not having a dialogue about these things and ignoring them doesn't really help. Sheila Flavel, COO of IT services company FDM, who sponsors the FDM Every Woman in Tech Awards, told me recently. It's not about making people feel bad, it's about celebrating diversity and raising awareness and the unconscious biases that do exist. And so by thereby, if race and sexual these types of sexuality are these types of things that we can't change, and we're not going against them, but we want to highlight diversity, aren't we also creating biases against the current incumbents? Aren't we creating biases against the current culture and saying, hey, look, it's the way it is, we can't change it, but we want to celebrate this, and this clearly isn't you. So maybe, what's the undertones here? That's right. The undertones is that they have to change. You see, these types of articles borderline on control. It's like, hey, there's an egregious issue. There's a problem that I think needs to be solved, and the best way to solve it is by kind of, what's the word I want to use? It's like Southern hospitality. It's like passive aggressiveness. Yes, it's passive aggressiveness. Southern hospitality, passive aggressiveness. Seriously, it's I feel like there's something wrong. Keyword there, feel, right? Because the world right now is all about feelings. I feel like there's something wrong. So we're going to celebrate the differences of the problem. And by doing so, we're going to kind of passive aggressively make you guys feel bad that you haven't changed. Is this the right way to do business, guys? Female entrepreneurship data from the Boston Consulting Group had previously shown that startups run by women tend to perform better than average. I've heard that before. And the scale of potential was underlined by a follow-up study that the group had explored what would happen to the economy if entrepreneurship rates among women were comparable to those among men. The report suggests that if rates were broadly equal, the global GDP would grow up to 60%. That's a nice thesis for politics. And they would add to the economy an incredible $5 trillion. The research from the University of Edinburgh took place in Northern Ireland, which is an area of lower female entrepreneurship rates than the rest of the UK. It's a discrepancy that has been tackled head-on by Invest NI, a regional development agency in the country. I didn't know this particular area of the world was a startup hub. Maybe that has something to play into it. I mean, if you chose like Southside Atlanta as like the place that you're going to grab people to talk about entrepreneurship, you're going to end up with a lot of mixtapes, guys. You're going to end up with a lot of mixtapes.
Gotcha, bitch.
Buy my mixtape, guy. Buy my mixtape. The promotion and support of female entrepreneurship has typically been done via women-only networks that aim to provide entrepreneurs with access to valuable networks. The research spoke with these entrepreneurs from these networks together with those from mixed networks, and indeed both who are members of both types of network. The conversations revealed that the aim of providing valuable networking opportunities was not met by a reality that saw these groups marginalized and stuck in a niche of female entrepreneurship, rather than providing members with access to the kind of networks that are so vital to startup growth. Wow. So you're saying that if they go to these female-only network events, they're not getting what they want, so they should continue to go. No, that's not what they're saying. What they're saying is that they go to these networking groups and don't feel like they get what they want. So the real answer is try another one. Keep going. Keep grinding. This is the founder perspective of this article. I know you're wondering, when am I finally going to interject the founder perspective and not just the poo-poo about differences in men and women. Here's the founder perspective. If you're hustling, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're hustling, go and network more. Find other groups. Yeah, it's unfair. Yeah, you don't look like them. Yeah, you don't have the same experience. Yeah, you don't come from the same pedigree. Who cares? Overcome it. It'll be part of your narrative origin story of how you became a Bruce Banner to the She-Hulk. Doesn't make any sense. No.
Nope.
Yeah. Keep grinding. Keep hustling. I know the world's unfair, but this is one of the things that I tell my kids all the time. Life's not fair. Earn it. Do it. Do it yourself. Push through. Actually, that's always the answer. Whenever my family gets stuck in anything, my answer to my family is always, it's through. We're pushing through. As an entrepreneur, you need to get over yourself, your sexuality, and your skin color. Because if you want to succeed, those might be traits that within your particular market demographic might be a disadvantage. I understand. I've been there, guys. But guess what? You can overcome it. If someone like I can overcome it, then you can overcome it too. Let's see, where are we? Entrepreneurship policies targeted at women contributing little or nothing to the equality or well-being or independence the researchers say, is a problem. Entrepreneurship is shaped for men, and successful entrepreneurs are male. Successful women entrepreneurs. Women are only deemed successful if they launch businesses in the right male-dominated industries and match male-owned business for growth. She's wrong. She has the wrong idea of what success is, clearly. So don't listen to this lady.
Nope.
Thus, women-only networks perpetuate a masculinity of entrepreneurship by reinforcing women as being in the margins. Better support. Really? The research highlights the various challenges faced by female entrepreneurs, which, by the way, I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying that this article is not making a good case for it. And if anything, there should be more addition to the idea of grind it out. Yeah, it's an unfair world, but you can't change it by just going there and complaining. You change it by going there and becoming a part of it, integrating yourself into it, becoming a leader in that group. Keep going, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say you go to a meetup and it's male dominated and you're the only female. Stick in there, stay in there, go there for an entire year. You will eventually become the luminary of that group because you're the only female that is willing to go and earn her stripes and be part of the group. They'll accept you. They'll tout you as a leader. They'll tout you as a thought leader, whatever that means. They'll tout you as someone who has discipline. And they'll tout you as someone who has perseverance because you stuck in it. And then you become the rock star woman in all male-dominated meetup group. I know that sounds lame.
Nope.
But actually, it's a great way to exert dominance. Am I wrong here? Leave a comment below. This is coupled by a lack of awareness in the sectors female entrepreneurs tend to focus on, which results in poor construction of the right networks to help them grow their businesses. So, get connected with the right people. Keep hustling. Keep networking. As such, the research found that the networks available to entrepreneurs tend to be limited geographically, and provide more in the way of social support than any form of business development assistance. Emotional support's a big deal. This is a shame. No, it's not. Emotional support is helpful, as the interviews highlighted reveal a sense among female entrepreneurs of having to battle against the tide and seas of entrepreneurship as largely a male domain. Yes, it is. It is largely a male domain. And if you're a woman, crush it. Prove them wrong. Stay in there. Stick in there. Persevere. And you'll become one of the few that have succeeded among the men. Seems like a win to me. Am I missing something here? And again, guys, I'm coming from a perspective where I'm usually the youngest one. I'm usually the guy coming in, not part of the incumbency, right? And so I have to hustle my way in, stay in there, stick in there. And maybe it might be an all-white male, entrepreneurship group, and I'm the only person of color. So what? So what? If I want to be part of what they're doing, and they're already well established, I got to earn my way in. That's just my thoughts. My thoughts, guys. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I have too much male privilege and I don't know what I'm talking about. Strategies and policies focus on addressing failings or limitations unique to women rather than on systemic industry or institutional issues, which aren't going away anytime soon, by the way. Perceived a deficiency in perceived male underperformance, the research says. By treating women differently from men and treating them as a problem that needs to be fixed and by creating women-only targeted initiatives, women continue to be marginalized. Many business structures are shaped for men, with women restricted in their entrepreneurial ambitions and the lower echelons of the retail and service sector, often referred to as pink ghettos. I've never heard that before until now. You must be making that up. This is perhaps exacerbated by network managers who generally see themselves as part of the solution, whereas themselves as helping entrepreneurs. The feeling was not matched by the entrepreneurs themselves, who often felt that the networks merely confirmed their status as second-class citizens to the entrepreneurial world. Well, then rise up, become better than a second-class citizen. I feel like these types of articles sometimes these days is just a complaining fest, talking about the social ills and the unfairness of a particular market, when in reality, as a founder, right, that's me reading these as a founder. I'm coming from a founder perspective. It's like you can overcome all this with simple hard work. I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but guys, so much of what I talk about with these articles is you need to grind. Like, people want to have success with the minimal amount of effort. That's not how it works. You will have a minimal amount of success with a ton of work. And if you can, that's the real equation. You will have a jokum, just a little bit squishy, just small, pequeño. You will have a small amount of success from a lot of hard work. But if you continue to work hard, then that small success can grow and can grow exponentially. It's just the timing. The failings of these support networks are also highlighted by the Columbia research, which suggests that female entrepreneurs would be better served going directly to the contracts or contacts they wish to meet rather than relying on intermediaries. There you go. Go and get it, girl. With the stakes quite so high, should society prove better to support female entrepreneurs, hopefully the uncovering of these findings will enable the support networks that do exist to move beyond providing lip service and actually help female entrepreneurs overcome the inequities society continues to place on them. All parties need to identify, address, and eliminate the various means in which by cultural bias is perpetuated. That's a no-win solution, guys. Cultural biases are perpetuated. The only way to remove cultural biases is to create so much heterogeneousness, so heterogeneity, becoming mixed. Becoming mixed to the point where all cultures have lost any of their grounding, or all just one blob of gray. That's the only way to remove cultural biases. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do you really want that? If women's entrepreneurship continues to be seen as a gendered niche, aspirations for its impact will be never met. Well, guys, there you have it. It seems to be, in this author's opinion, that female-only entrepreneurship networking groups do not help female entrepreneurs. And the reason is because they're built and created like networking groups built by men. While I find this argument to be really flaccid and not very well put together, I can agree, certainly, that there are biases, period. And there are biases. So what? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of founder, right? Remember, this is just news bits from a founder's perspective. That I'm the type of founder that doesn't care. I just don't care about what sex, gender, skin, color. I don't care what culture you come from. Are you intelligent? Are you a hustler? Are you a grinder? Are you disciplined? Do you have an uncanny drive to want to succeed in what you're building and what you're doing? Are you communicating what you're doing out to the world? Are you bringing people to yourself to help you? If this is the case, then none of this really matters. All of this will be merely an anecdote in your narrative story. You might say, well, back 15 years ago when I started, I had a tough time because I was a female in a male-dominated area, and all the networks I went to were male. But what happened is I stuck through with one, and I stayed in there for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And then I became one of the leaders of that networking group, and now I can become the change that I wanted to see, that helped me become what I wanted to become, to network who I wanted to network with, and to be where I am today. Yeah, it was a hard 6 years of work. That's the narrative. That's the story. And I'm very similar, not dissimilar, to my story in a lot of ways. But the thing is that it seems like these articles cater to people who want the answers to be the world to change tomorrow. It ain't going to change for you, nugget. Okay? Little chicken nugget. The world's not going to change for you, little chicken nugget. It's not going to happen, guys. It's just... Let me know your comments below, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this article and whether you think they're wrong or if they're right. That's funny, guys. That's funny. All right, let's get into the next article here. Why a good product is not enough to build a successful startup. This is by Abdo Rainey. Remember the last commercial, movie, or show or channel that portrayed a successful entrepreneur? Do you find a common theme? The first thing that comes to mind is someone boarding a plane, shaking hands, or signing papers. A friend recently asked me, why would a smart business owners waste thousands of dollars to accomplish things they could do over a phone call or email? Because a good product is not enough to build a successful startup. Think of your favorite app or tool and the problem it solves. Before this product, how did you or people solve the problem before? What technology did this take care of when it comes to old jobs and faster and cheaper, better solutions? From a business standpoint, nothing has changed. A human being creates, maintains, powers those technology-enabled solutions. Therefore, a business still and will always be about human relationships. There you go right there. It's about shaking hands. Now, I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of people online, but I also spend time every week meeting people face to face, shaking their hands. You gotta slap that skin, guys. You gotta slap the skin. You gotta meet people face to face. That's the only way they're really gonna like you. One of the common mistakes entrepreneurs make is assume startup success is only about the product, when the reality is a new product is like a college degree, which takes time and money, but eventually every committed student gets one. Just like degrees, good products don't guarantee success in business. What makes the business influence and the success of your business, or the influence of your business, and is the ability to build a business career and a business with human interaction and relationships. In startups, this starts with the idea stage, meeting key stakeholders like future customers, potential investors, mentors, and partners, and team members is your first step to doing business the right way. Here are 3 reasons why. In the simplest form, business is about exchanging value. When you spend months building a product based on hypotheses, you could risk creating a solution customers don't want or need. In the case, forcing unwanted products into customers' lives add no value to what they want to accomplish. It's a waste of time for them and you. But having a conversation about their struggles and how you can solve their problems is a value add meeting. Best of all, they'll help you build a product they need and will pay for. 100%. This is the value of community, and this is going to be a big part of the thesis of my venture fund, is that it's going to be community driven, because I know that I can leverage community to help me understand how to build a product faster. So if you're an entrepreneur out there, you need to be building community. You need to be building a subset of group of customers, or potential customers, or users that can be raving fans for what you're doing, so that you can receive feedback every day. That's the win. The first productive meeting is an opportunity to build a personal relationship with future buyers. If you're looking to pre-sell your idea, build case studies, or get referred to some leads, this is your second opportunity to do business the right way by just getting out of the building and shaking people's hands and build relationships. When Apurva Mehta, founder of a grocery delivery startup Instacart, ran out of options and to get accepted into Y Combinator, he took its efforts offline. He surprised YC partners with an Instacart delivery to their office. Because of this, they invited him to speak in person and accepted him into the program shortly after. That was the first time in history of YC they accepted a startup 2 months late. The lesson learned is, if you want to get something done, go get it. That's exactly what I was talking about this article writer, Abdo, should be talking to the previous article writer, Ali, or whatever his name is, because it's the hustle. Go get it. Go get it. Forget the barriers to entry. Forget the racial issues or the sexual issues. Sounds weird. Forget it. Go out and get it. Go out and get it. The worst that can happen is getting an honest and upfront rejection, so you can move on with other things. When was the last time you waited months for an important email or phone call and just to hear a word no? I've been there. I've been there, guys. You convert. Oh, too bad.
Nope.
We live in a world dominated by technology. You can virtually start, grow, fund, and sell your business without meeting a single stakeholder like your customers, investors, or acquirer. This is disruption in its purest form, and it's all thanks to technology. With this unprecedented degree of efficiency, human interaction in business is no longer a requirement. Today, however, it's a competitive edge. The easiest way to differentiate your business from the rest is using technology to facilitate human interaction, not avoid it. Well, I couldn't agree more. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm trying to model for you guys as entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs out there, is to go out and meet, to go out and greet, shake hands. Another thing is, you have to practice your spiel. You have to practice your shtick. You have to practice your pitch. You have to practice communication around what the hell you're actually building. And doing it online is great, but doing it in person, you'll get right real quick when you mess up and they catch you, or you're not confident about something and they question you about it and you don't have a good answer. Good. Get in the reps. That's what I'm doing now. I have so many conversations, guys, with VCs, where they say something. I'll say, I think I know what that means, but I'm not exactly sure. Tell me, what does that mean? Right? I don't mind. I'm in a beginner mindset, but I have to smash my atoms against other atoms and other people so that I can get feedback and become a better venture capitalist, become a better human, be more knowledgeable, right? I need to get in those reps. That's what it's all about. So if you're a founder, or you're the entrepreneur out there, or even if you're a corporate employee, you can still better your life by going farther. Asking, interacting, engaging, having those conversations that you don't need to have, but you might as well have because you're stuck in the office. And you know what? You might as well leverage the office as a powerful opportunity to network the hell out of it. Think about that, guys. Those are today's 2 news bits from a founder's perspective, guys. I'm glad you guys are here. Let's get on to the final word for founders and community.
Did you know that there's even more value than just audio or video? Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at VC Hunting, and make sure to sign up for the VC Hunting newsletter, where you'll be able to get weekly news on venture capital, startups, founder stories, and the occasional wisdom extracted from Peter's brain. Go to vchunting.com to sign up. And now, back to the episode.
Well, like I was saying, guys, earlier this morning, welcome to the final segment, final word from Peter Saddington for founders and community. So what's been going on? Well, this weekend, as I introduced early in today's show, this weekend we had some crashes. Both of the boys crashed in a 6-7 cart pileup, which was unfortunate. Good thing no one was hurt. I will say, though, there were some angry appas. There were some angry fathers out there who... I'll give you the story if you're interested. So here's the problem. So our kids are 6 and 7 years old. They're running lap times of 102 to 109, and the faster carts are running lap times of like low 50s. And so that's like a 15, 20 mile per hour differential. And so the problem is there's a couple blind turns. And when you have these couple blind turns and my son's going 45, 50 miles per hour and you're going 65, it's a big difference. You can end up crashing into them. And so we need to create a system in which the fast carts go at one time and the slower carts go at another time. That's the solution. But the solution arose from angry abas, angry dads who are mad about their kids who are going in the faster carts smashing into our younger kids. Well, you see, I went to Skip Barber Racing School. Here we go. Here's my Skip Barber Racing School packet. And I got my racing license so I could drive the Radical Cup in my Radical race car. I spent a lot of money, and I've been into racing for a long time. And I know that I remember from my racing class and my racing license that the racing instructor said something very simple. They said, it is the responsibility of the faster car to pass the slower cars safely. So that's my argument. My argument to these older gentlemen with their 12-year-old reckless sons driving carts that they can't really control, my recommendation is that they go to racing school or they get coached, or they simply realize the fact that good racing etiquette is that the faster carts, it is their responsibility to pass safely the slower carts. Now, there are some problems with the stewards and the flag men, because they don't always they don't always flag the blue and white or blue flag, telling our kids that there's a faster cart coming up from behind them. Now, my son's job and the slower cart's job is to keep the racing line, stay consistent in your driving pattern. And so anyway, crash, blah, 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 argue, and I had to diffuse the situation by saying, hey, let's just switch off. I know everyone's busted here. Everyone's going to be paying thousands of dollars for fixed carts here. All right, we're all in the same suck. So that was this weekend. It's ruined the race weekend because now I'm going to be fixing carts all week. And in this next weekend, that's all I'm going to be doing because we don't have any carts. Did I need to explain all that? Was that helpful? Guys, I'm just sharing my life. Remember, part of what I'm doing with this show is just speaking about my life and what's going on to my community. And if you last this long, because most people just listen to the news bits and they don't hang out for later, this is what you get. You get just a free-form Peter here. And so that's what happened this weekend. I want to talk about a conversation that I had with an individual last week, a brilliant man. And I bring this up because of the kind of the context of these articles. I met this individual through a network connection, and it all started in crypto. And I didn't have to pursue this network connection. I didn't have to pursue this individual. But I knew that this individual was a smart person. a sophisticated investor. And I'm here to tell you guys that after months and months of networking and jumping and finding the right people to introduce me to this individual, I finally got the opportunity to sit down with him this last week and have lunch with him and discuss my ideas around for a fundamentally new venture fund, a fundamentally new type of venture fund. So he has been, this guy has been in the venture game for like 40 plus years, 40 plus years. He knows the ins and outs. He understands the game. And he was blown away by my proposal, my ideas around how I would do and how I would create a venture fund. And the conversation that we had was so great that he was so happy. Because, he's pitched by young bloods like me all the time. They're like asking for money and, asking for his help. But I'm not that type of guy. And I think another unfortunate thing is I've seen so many founders that pitch and you can smell the desperation. I'm not a desperate man. I'm a hardworking man. I wouldn't consider myself a desperate man in the usual sense, but I would say that I'm a desperate man when it comes to the desires of my heart. Like I desperately, not in a bad way, but it's like an unending desire to achieve amazing things, while I'm here on this planet. And I'm desperate to get to those things. It's not that I, act desperately. I act intelligently and I make the best informed decisions I can. But I would say at some level, maybe it's a funky permutation of desperation. I do feel like sometimes I am desperate to achieve and desperate to create. Anyway, he was so enamored and so excited about what I had pitched to him that he was really thankful that we got this opportunity. And he wants to meet this week already to discuss some of the deeper details of how I would create this fund and craft this fund. The reason I tell you all of this is not just the context of today's message, but it's because I had to work for months for this relationship. I have stories like that. There are people that I've interviewed on VC Hunting, on that segment, VCs, that are a network connection from a network connection from a network connection from a network connection. Let me tell you how I got Tim Draper. I got Tim Draper through a venture capitalist called Ash Rust, who has invested in my companies previously. He connected me with Danielle D'Agostado, who works for Alchemist Accelerator. She connected me to Ravi Balani, who works for Alchemist Accelerator. And then Ravi Balani connected me to Tim Draper. Several months to go through this connection. Several months of asking, reminding, pinging, saying, hey man, it's been 2 weeks. Can I get a network connect? Like, I'm telling you, like if you're a woman, you're a person of color, I don't care who you are. You have to earn it. You have to go out and get it. I went out and got it. And the conversation I had this last week was fucking amazing. I mean, and of course it's a huge ego boost to impress someone who's been in the game for 30, 40 plus years, right? Yeah, but when they think that your idea is novel and they get excited about it, and then they want to meet up with you again to discuss more. We're talking about creating momentum here. Guys, I mean, I'm excited. I'm really excited. Now, is anything going to happen out of this? Who knows? I don't create those high expectations for these types of outcomes, because creating any type of business, getting money for a business, getting money for a venture firm, it's a year-long process, guys. It's a long road, right? But I mean, I'm just here to tell you, if you're a founder, you're the entrepreneur curious, or even if you're a corporate employee, don't care. You have to want to get it. You have to want to do it. And you have to put in the work to achieve it. You just have to. There's no other substitute, guys. And I'm going to end with this. There is no other substitute for hard work. It is the requirement. It is the main ingredient in which your future can become what you want it to be. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful Monday, a wonderful week. I'm looking forward to this week because I got some great conversations this week coming up. Not venture capital interviews, but guys who might be able to help me build my fund. Have a great week, guys. I'm looking up. Here's to you guys. I got you.